What's going on, guys? My name is Jake.
I'm Jesus.
This is your body comp prescription where we help you navigate through all things health and fitness. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at bodycomprx.
All right, guys. So, episode about fat burners, right? So, today, we're going to talk to you about fat burners, the goals of fat burners, the commonly found ingredients, what the science says behind why fat burners are important, why fat in general is important. And at the
Mhm.
end, we'll go into dive deep about our thoughts, our opinions regarding their effectiveness and whether or not they're worth our money. So right before we jump in, I want to say I lied to you guys, those who've been listening. I said there's no such thing as a magic pill because if you go into any vitamin shop, they'll tell you there is a magic pill. It's called
Mm,
fat burners.
mm. Do
So,
tell.
right? So, how do these fat burners work? What do they promise you? Why should you take these fat burners? The whole point of these fat burners are to speed up your metabolism, and by that, it causes you to burn fat and it suppresses your appetite, right? Therefore, if you have all those three things, in theory, you should burn fat and lose weight.
hmm So, before we get into some of the ingredients that you'll commonly find in some of these fat burners and fat burning supplements, let's talk about the goal. Jesus already kind of talked about what their aim is. So this is kind of piggybacking off that a little bit. Fat burners are a supplement, a dietary supplement that are aimed at helping you accelerate your fat loss progress, right? So if you're already dieting, your probably main goal is to lose body fat, right? So this is aimed at increasing your fat-free mass. We've talked about this in previous episodes where we want as good of a fat-free mass as possible and as low of a fat mass as possible, right? We want that ratio to be pretty good and high in favor of fat-free mass, right? So let's go into some of the ingredients a little bit. But before that, the main process that these ingredients are aimed at um, triggering is called thermogenesis. If you don't know what thermogenesis is it's your body producing heat caused by burning of calories, right? So a lot of these thermogenics, if you've heard that as a term before, um, the the aim is to target these hormones, adrenaline and epinephrine. We kind of know what adrenaline is mainly, but epinephrine is very similar. It's that fight or flight kind of hormone, right? Which helps to manipulate or stimulate your heart rate and metabolism, right? When you have a lot of adrenaline, when you have a lot of epinephrine, your heart rate tends to go up, right? Because it, you know, historically has been like a again a fight or flight where you are become nervous and you need to um, you burn more calories because of whatever situation is going on. So these ingredients tend to target those hormones in order to produce thermogenesis, right? Still with me? Let's get into some of those ingredients then, shall we? um, Caffeine, we all know what caffeine is, right? We've talked about this before in previous episodes, right? Like in the energy drink episode. So if you haven't checked that out, feel free to do that. But we know caffeine, as well as like green tea extract, those are uh, primarily aimed at for energy, right? We think of, trying to, we're a little bit more tired. So we consume some caffeine or maybe some green tea in order to, boost up our energy levels, right? But what caffeine also does is it suppresses leptin. So leptin is a hormone that's produced by fat cells, and leptin's main goal is to um, regulate your appetite, basically. So by suppressing your leptin, what it's doing is it's making it so that way you don't feel as hungry when you take it, right? So if you're consuming caffeine, um, and you've heard of caffeine as an appetite suppressant, this is what they mean basically. It makes you not as hungry because it's suppressing that leptin, right? Caffeine and green tea have been found to elevate your resting metabolic rate, um, but only in the short term, right? So the resting metabolic rate is the calories that you burn at rest. So when you're not like actively exercising or something like that. So if you consume some caffeine or some green tea, um, the amount of calories that you can burn um, goes up just by a tiny bit. So that's where that kind of comes from, right?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in there, and I think we always talk about like caffeine, and I guess today's episode's new because we are also mentioning green tea extract, but a lot of these are very popular and common in the sense where you hear about it because people say, "Oh, did you know that caffeine's good for you? Caffeine's not bad for you. Caffeine helps you lose weight," right?
Mm.
But I think kind of like a disclaimer to be going out there is that in order to promote weight loss by taking caffeine or green tea extract, you want to be in a calorie deficit, right? You want to be able to burn more calories than you consume. And by doing this, it will then trigger that caffeine and green tea extract that you've already consumed and help you in burning more fat and therefore losing more weight. But if you don't do, if you're not, burning more calories than you consume, then that just kind of goes to waste and it's really not really beneficial for you in that sense.
Yeah, and I think a good way to summarize this is like when you can't be like having a massive cheat day, right? Where you consume if your maintenance calories are, let's say, like 2,400 calories and you're eating double that, let's say you have 5,000 calories for the day. You can't just keep taking more and more and more caffeine and green tea in order to compensate for the extra calories that you're putting in.
Yeah, it
You
won't
know, they
work like
don't
that.
cancel each other out. Um, I think that was a good thing to throw in there too. So,
Hmm.
getting back to some of these ingredients, um, carnitine, L-carnitine is generally one of the main ingredients that's targeted, or at least marketed for fat loss, right? And then the science behind carnitine is basically that it has a pretty big role in fat oxidation, which is basically just metabolizing fat, right? Carnitine is needed to help shuttle those free fatty acids into the mitochondria of the cell. And that's where that kind of comes in, right? So if you have more L-carnitine, the thought is that you can shuttle more and more and use more of that fat that you already have to turn into free fatty acids to go into the cell to get used as energy,
Yeah.
right? But what most people don't realize is that uh, most people aren't deficient in L-carnitine. If you are, then yes, this is a supplement that may be beneficial for you to use to help again, hopefully use some more of those free fatty acids in your body. But because we're not deficient in it, we don't necessarily need to be taking it in as a supplement in order to help promote fat loss. And in this case, at least what I found in some of the research is that um, this is something that you don't necessarily need to have tons and tons and tons of a surplus of in order to, you know, promote more fat loss or further fat loss, right? Um, that's what I found. And then a couple of last things, EGCG. I can't tell you how to pronounce that, so I'm just going to keep it as an acronym. And as well as capsaicin. These are a couple of things that are found sometimes in fat burning supplements. They're basically catechins. And if you don't know what catechins are, I'll just keep it nice and short. EGCG and capsaicin are very similar to caffeine and green tea extract, to where they try and target the adrenaline and epinephrine, where we're trying to boost our fight or flight instincts and our hormones in order to burn more calories at rest.
Yeah, and I think if you haven't caught on to this yet, if you notice what Jake was just saying, a lot of times we're not deficient in these things. It is just said out there that, oh, you take more of this that your body already naturally makes, and it'll help you burn more fat. You know,
Mhm.
but this isn't necessarily the case. And I think we talked about we did some of our research, and research shows that like L-carnitine, right? There's no actual research that says by taking a surplus of this it would help you that much more. So it's kind of like a give and take. You could either say like, oh yeah, because I'm going to be taking double the amount of L-carnitine that I naturally produce, it's going to help me, right? So I think that's something I just wanted to throw in there.
Yeah, that's a good argument because because there's no clear research picking side to side as far as oh, you shouldn't take a surplus of L-carnitine because it's harmful for you, and there's no research that clearly states that having a surplus can promote further fat loss. It's kind of a coin toss in a sense, but you know, because of these supplements cost you money, I would generally err on the side if there's no clear consensus, maybe err on the side of saving your money. But
Mhm.
again, you can do your own research as well and kind of see um, what kind of works for you. But um, yeah, did you want to go over anything else as far as fat burning supplements go?
I wanted to jump into kind of um I want to go into MCT oils, but that it being a separate supplement, it's not necessarily an ingredient. Um so yeah, so if you don't know what MCT oils are, they're medium chain triglycerides, right? That's what they stand for, MCT.
Yep.
It's usually found in the oil. Um you find it, you go to your natural like Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, anywhere where they usually sell these so-called natural supplements. Um and the reason MCT oil can be found in a coconut oil, but the reason why people take this is because it's known that these medium length fatty chain acids, um, your body naturally could digest them a lot faster and more efficiently than if they were long chains, kind of like what we
Mhm.
normally do. So by digesting it and not storing it as fat, it's kind of like a direct fuel for your body. So therefore, when you look at MCT oils, a lot of people promote, yes, it helps you burn fat, it helps you, gives you more energy. And I'm not saying that's not, but I'm saying that's the reason why, because it uses that as quick and efficient source of energy. And the reason why it's kind of like, if MCT oils, if you've heard of it so far, the reason why it's so popular is because everyone who is in uh, keto, or wanting to be get into a keto diet, you probably have heard of MCT, because you're in a very low carb diet, and by promoting your body to use its fat as an energy source, it's literally a person's dream when you're going through a keto diet, right?
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's just one thing I want to talk about, because when you're in a ketogenic state, using the fat as an energy source, it will help you, because the MCTs are known as ketones. If you don't know what ketones is basically process of keto, like the keto diet. Um, and I'm kind of rambling on about this, but that's basically why MCT oils are very popular nowadays. People really promote it to take it, but yeah, that's not, it's not an ingredient, it's more of its own supplement. So if you wanted to look into a fat burner, typically any dietitian, anyone who's in the industry will basically recommend this for you.
Yeah, I think um, you if you were to go to a dietitian, they would definitely recommend MCT oils over any fat burning supplement to begin with. Again, going back to kind of like that the natural route. A lot of times with supplements, right? And Jesus distinguished that uh, normal fat burning supplements are generally like powders, right? You can go to a GNC, a vitamin shop, whatever your supplement store is, right? And you can go to a fat burner section where it comes in a tub that looks a lot like a pre workout tub or something like that. And it has a list of ingredients. And we went over some of those ingredients earlier. But MCT oil is not usually found in them because, again, powder with oil doesn't really work very well as a supplement. So, um, as well as one thing that I forgot to mention actually is an issue that I have with fat burning supplements going back to normal powdered fat burning supplements, right, and not MCT oil, is that a lot of fat burning supplements include proprietary blends. Excuse me. Um, and what that means is that it's basically just one big thing and it says there's a blend of something, right? And it'll list the ingredients within it and then just the total amount of um, dosage of all of those ingredients put together, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that that's a problem is that if you find this goes for any supplement that has a blend in it, right? if it doesn't distinguish how much of each dosage there is, the likelihood is they're cheating you on the ones that are important, right? So we've already talked about that caffeine is a pretty good source, green tea extract, good source, and other things like that, right? If they're including a bunch of other things in there, but it's not telling you exactly how many grams, milligrams, or of each ingredient, this is something that you want to stay away from because the likelihood is that you're spending a lot of money on getting ingredients that are not even dosed properly, right? And that's why, again, maybe erring on the side of just doing some of these ingredients individually where you can control the dosages may be better, right? Just getting caffeine by itself or getting green tea extract by itself or MCT oil by itself. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there
Yeah,
real quick.
I was gonna that you bring up a really good point because I was gonna bring up, you know, MCT oils and for example, L-carnitine, right? They're kind of like the new up and coming like trend for those who want to burn fat and lose weight because you kind of see it starting to blow up. But how we mentioned earlier, there's little research that defends or says these are bad for you, and I say that because there's little research, you don't really know exactly its effects, but we could basically say that if it has an effect on your body, it's going to be a very small modest effect where let's say you do see a you know you do see yourself drop a couple pounds, with those, that's a very small modest effect. It's not what it's stating or promoting that it's going to help you look shredded and drop a surplus of weight in a short amount of time.
Yeah. But cool. Before we get into our opinion, do you want to go into some of the, some of maybe more of the dangers or the cons of taking some of these fat burning supplements?
Yeah. So it's always good to know what you're getting yourself into, and
Mhm.
it's like kind of the precautionary signs you should look at because the National Institute of Health says that the danger of these products is that the manufacturers themselves make various claims and promises that are not well researched. So that kind of goes back into what I just said a few seconds ago.
Mhm.
Um, there's no real like human trials where it says out of 100 100 people, 98% of them lost weight because they did this, they took this supplement. There's no actual research to back them up,
Yeah.
but based off their science and based off what it's supposed to be doing, it makes sense. So yes, in theory they make sense, but there's no actual evidence to back that up.
Mhm.
Another fun fact is that the FDA doesn't regulate supplements. So that's something to kind of be cautionary about because, if there's no real regulation, you don't really necessarily know, how Jake said, you don't know what other ingredients are being thrown in and how much they're actually throwing in. So in a way, it could kind of be a placebo effect. It could say it throws in L-carnitine. It could say it throws in caffeine. But what if it has a little sprinkle or a dab, and it's not really what it's supposed to be doing, and therefore you end up on the short end of the stick because you spent so much money um, buying these supplements or buying these essential like oils.
Yeah, and I think another thing to include on this very specific point about the FDA not regulating supplements in general, right? They just don't do it. But a way to put this into perspective for someone who doesn't really know the importance of this, right, is if you've ever watched any sport ever, right? Let's say MMA, baseball, basketball, something like that, right? A pro sport, and a athlete gets suspended for substance abuse, right? And what their defense was is I was just taking protein powder. I don't I wasn't taking anabolic steroids, right? But because the FDA does not regulate a lot of, sorry, any of these supplements, is that they can be tainted with traces of things that are not legal. So
Mhm.
what we recommend, and we won't go too deep into this, is that if you are looking for supplements and this is something that you're interested in, getting a supplement that is third party tested is generally the way to go, because what this does is it adds an extra layer of protection for the consumer, that they're actually getting what they say that they're getting, right? So, and the reason to back this up is that companies don't do this because it costs money, right? So if they're not required to, there's no one fact checking them on their nutrition labels or anything like that. Um, why spend the extra money to get it tested, right? Like, why cut into my profit margins? Um, like, that's why if you get one that's third party tested, it really shows usually the purity or the quality or the trust that the company has in their products, and that you're actually getting what you say, what that they say that you're getting.
Mhm.
So again, we won't go too deep, but getting a supplement, this goes for anything, not just fat burners, that's third party tested, is generally recommended. It's not something that you have to do, but because of the whole FDA not regulating any supplements, it might be something to consider.
Real quick before we move on, Jake, um, how would those who don't have an experience know when it's third party tested? Like, what do they
So
look out for?
that's a good question, actually. So when I was a trainer, we were always taught, obviously we had sales to do, but we were taught to look for um, the NSF badge on supplements. This isn't the only third party testing company that will do this, but you can really easily go online and look up um, third party testing agencies and what their like logo looks like. And if they are on the supplement itself, it's third party tested basically. So if there's a, let's say, a fat burner that you're looking into, right? What you can do is you can type in brand, product, third party tested, or you can go onto a third party testing website and type in the product that you're looking for, and it'll generally tell you.
Yeah.
Um, Most companies that have them third party tested are very proud of that and promote that, again, because of how much it costs to prove that what they're doing is good. So it just takes one extra step of research on the product that you're looking for, and most of the time we buy stuff online anyways, so just look it up real quick and see if the product that you're looking at is third party tested, and then you're all good to go.
Yeah, and just like Jay said, usually they're very proud of it, and you'll see it right on the front. You wouldn't even have to like turn the bottle or whatever you're holding. It's usually bam, right, right in the front.
Hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, so those are one of the dangers or something you should really consider when looking into supplements or even fat burners. But I think specifically for fat burners, if you suffer or if you take medication because you have uncontrollable blood sugar levels, aka diabetes, or have high blood pressure, these are
Hmm.
something to consider because you have to be extremely careful when you're taking these fat burners or any kind of supplements in general, because how it affects your body and what it does to your body,
Yeah,
right?
and just to tag one last thing onto the cons or the dangers of these things is that I have found when researching a little bit more on fat burning supplements, it was actually very common when you type in fat burning supplements into PubMed or Google Scholar or wherever you do your research for, you know um, for research studies, right? Um, you type in fat burners, and a lot of them include um, uh, liver injury or liver failure in them. So, again, this is obviously a case by case basis, but um, just to kind of emphasize that if you were to just type in fat burners into your research domain of choice, and you find a lot of articles that support acute liver failure or acute liver injury, this is something that's not exactly desirable either. So
Mhm.
but for all of you guys that care, we have gotten some requests to include some of the articles that we reference. So if you watch it on YouTube, they'll be in the description, so you can go check out the articles for yourself if that's something that you're interested in. But
Yeah.
just to wrap this up, we'll finally give you guys kind of our opinion on fat burners as a whole, right? I think that I speak for Jesus as well when I say that fat burners can work, especially when dosed correctly with some of these ingredients that we told you have been proven to burn more calories while you're at rest and such, right? Or more efficiently use your fat as energy, right? They can work, but your main priorities should be to clean up your diet and um, how you eat and some of the things that you consume on a daily basis. Jesus mentioned that being in a calorie deficit is needed for fat loss. And yeah, you should be focusing on that as well as your exercise primarily. And then if you really wanted to take the next step after that, then including things like your caffeine, your green tea extract, your MCT oils, um, what else? Like your carnitine, if you find that that's something that can work for you, and so stuff like that. So
Mhm.
making sure that diet, exercise is good first, and then adding fat burners on top of that.
Mm. And I think for those who, are very passionate or very strong-minded in the sense where they're like, no, I think, Joe from Vitamin Shop told me this is what it's gonna make me, lose all this extra weight and want to take fat burners. I would say that's fine, go ahead and do that. But I would definitely recommend seeing a registered dietitian and seeing a professional because how we said in this whole entire episode today, fat burners are, could work, but they definitely do a lot, or at least claim to do a lot to your body. And those aren't necessarily safe or necessarily good for you because, as you can see, it really like messes with your actual like natural body system and the way it already flows. So, if you're going to take it, definitely see a professional, get a professional who actually looks and breaks down your personal lifestyle and your personal diet and knows exactly how it will impact you specifically and not a mass of people or what the company manufacturer claims it's going to do.
Exactly. Yeah. We always say that, we're obviously not doctors or nutritionists. So, you know, we try and break down the research for you, break down some of the science for you to make it a little bit more understandable, hopefully. But at the end of the day, you can choose what you would like. But if you are serious about doing something like this, we definitely do recommend seeing a medical professional that knows a little bit more specifically about what you do and what you eat and all that kind of stuff when introducing a new supplement like this. But yeah, do you have any closing comments for us?
No, that was all.
All right, cool. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you found this useful and/or entertaining. Be sure to check out some of the other episodes if you haven't already. But until next time, guys, peace.
Peace out.